Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall is the most awaited fight for 2025, and the fact that fans are confidently predicting the Englishman will destroy Jones has left the American extremely irritated. Jon Jones was undoubtedly even more angered when Aspinall claimed he was a cheater for using banned substances in the fighting world, which, according to him, disqualifies Jones as the greatest fighter of all time. Check out exactly what Tom Aspinall said about Jon Jones, Dana White's surprising statement regarding the two, and much more. First, pay attention to what Tom Aspinall said when asked if he agrees that his fight against Jon Jones would be the greatest of all time, while also revealing a conversation he had with Dana White. I agree. That interview took place right after the Jones fight the same night, and actually right after that press conference I had a meeting with Dana. Literally, I'm waiting outside the room, so I hadn't seen any of the stuff that he said. So in all honesty, I was expecting him to come, and we maybe negotiate a little bit. And he literally walked into the room and said, "It's happening." Then I said, "He's going to want loads of money." And he said, "I know, but it's happening. It's going to be the biggest fight in UFC history." Tom Aspinall further escalated the controversy with Jon Jones when he declared that the American should be excluded from the conversation of the greatest fighter of all time because Jones had cheated in MMA by using banned substances. Let me first start by saying Jon is absolutely elite, and I completely agree with the notion that he's one of the best fighters ever. Potentially the greatest, but the way that I look at is he has failed a couple of drug tests. To me, that rules you out of being the best of all time. For me, personally, yeah, of course it makes him a cheater. If you're on steroids or whatever, I don't think he was on steroids, but he was on PEDs, performance-enhancing drugs. If you're on PEDs and your opponent isn't, that's absolutely cheating in my book unless you're both allowed to do it. When I retire, I will, yeah, absolutely, to keep my body healthy. Your body stops producing testosterone after a while. To be a healthy older gentleman, I'll probably do some kind of testosterone replacement therapy. But I think when you fight in MMA, you absolutely shouldn't be using PEDs. Dana White also spoke out in an interview with ESPN, and when questioned about why he genuinely believes the fight between Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones will happen, he revealed some important behind-the-scenes information from the fighting world. You're preaching to the preacher on this. Jon Jones and I do not have the greatest relationship in the world. We haven't for years, and everybody thinks that it's just a fact. It is what it is. If you know anything about fighting, not is only Jon Jones the greatest mixed martial artist of all time, but Jon Jones would have run through everybody who's ever fought in any combat sports. He is literally the baddest dude who ever walked the face of the earth at this point in time. I'm gonna tell you the craziest thing about Jon Jones. I'm the guy that hears all the stuff behind the scenes. All the biggest tough guys that you all loved. I heard them turning down fights and, "Oh, I don't want to do this and that." Behind the scenes. Jon Jones is the exact opposite. Jon Jones will fight anybody, he's not afraid. He has never said behind the scenes, "I won't fight Tom Aspinall." It's the exact opposite. To the public, he makes it seem like he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. And the thing is, Jon Jones is like 38 years old now and has these huge gaps in between fights. He is not afraid to fight Tom Aspinall, and he will fight Tom Aspinall, and it will be the biggest fight in UFC history. Some of the fans and the media do it because they don't like Jon. Let me tell you what, I would never be a shill for Jon Jones or any other fighter. Jon Jones, we had one goofy incident years ago with Chael Sonnen. But it wasn't Jon Jones, it was his team, which is one of the goofiest things I've ever seen. Jon Jones has never turned down a fight ever. Period. That's a fact. Despite criticizing Jon Jones for using banned substances, Tom Aspinall commented that, in his view, Jones is not being a coward, as much of the MMA fan base is calling him, adding that the American is simply trying to negotiate for more money for the fight. I don't think he is a snowflake now. He's trying to get more money. I don't think he's ducking me. He's trying to get more money. You know what, I actually agree with a lot of what Jon says. When you put the resumes next to each other, his resume is far superior to mine. The risk reward for both of us, his risk is here. I don't really care about money at this point. Obviously, I've got a family and want to make as much money as I can. But to me, what's more important is unifying the belts. In MMA, unlike boxing, there's usually one champion, one face, and one name for every division. Right now, in the heavyweight division, there are two, and I don't want it to stay that way. I feel like I'm the number one, and Jon obviously feels like he's the number one. So let's fight about it, it's not that difficult. John often talks about legacy and history and all this stuff. It's not about John, it's about the belt, and I want to be the unified champion. So, for me, it's not so much about money. Dana White also commented on Jon Jones' team refusing to fight just once, which was against Chael Sonnen. Recently, Sonnen also spoke about the experience of facing Jones. That was just a hard one, where I just watched him and thought, man, that guy is good. It was okay to look up to John, and it was okay to admire John because I was in a different weight class. I was a 185-pounder and he was a 205-pounder. I'm 32 years old. I'm never going to see this guy. So, to sit and admire and see him catch legs and spin to elbows, see him do uppercuts into flying knees and try and copy and emulate that stuff, I was safe because I'm never going to deal with him. All of a sudden, I'm a 205-pounder, they got me in a world title fight. Here we are on The Ultimate Fighter, now I'm walking out to fight Jon Jones. It's worth noting that Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones seems to be a reality very close to happening because Dana White not only mentioned it in the ESPN interview today but also spoke about it at a press conference on Saturday. Yeah, I'll say 100% guaranteed. 100% it's a priority. I think it's probably the biggest fight in heavyweight history, and it's a massive in the history of the company too. It's a big fight. It's weird. Let me tell you what's weird about that. So usually those guys say that shit behind the scenes and not publicly. John says that shit publicly but not behind the scenes. John is a very unique individual to deal with. From day one, I've been confident that Jon Jones would do that fight. I mean, even before the fight, I said if he won, there's no way John doesn't do this fight. Jon Jones isn't afraid to fight anybody, and that's a fact. The only time that anything remotely weird has ever happened with Jon Jones is the time that his F***King camp did the weird Chael Sonnen thing. We can't fight Chael Sonnen on short notice. That wasn't him. That was his team, and he listened to his team for whatever reason. But that's like the goofiest F***King move in the history of the UFC. But other than that, Jon Jones behind the scenes is not a guy that turns down fights. Well guys, it seems the world is going to get the fight everyone wants, and 2025 looks like the year Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones will finally face off in the octagon. But what about your opinion? Do you believe Tom Aspinall is the right name to beat Jon Jones? Or do you think Jones will end up destroying the Englishman? Leave your opinion in the comments so we can discuss. If you truly love MMA and like staying up to date on everything happening in the fighting world, you'll definitely want to check out these other two pieces of content popping up on the screen. These two videos are extremely important, and I'm absolutely sure you'll enjoy them a lot and stay well informed on the latest MMA news. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to help with content promotion. Until next time.